selves, all of the fear, all of the trapped energy, which I'm assuming that's what you do, isn't it? And then when you do
Do
that,
you see any baggage?
no, I'm saying that's what all therapists,
Do you see any baggage?
hypnotherapists, healers, channelers hope to accomplish, which is to let the human being, the being, come through, and that we release all of that stuff that we carry around with us, thereby allowing us to be mindfully present in our lives. I don't know. Is that
how do we release it? How do we release that baggage?
Well, I have to tell you, it was very helpful to be in the presence of people who had worked on their own stuff.
And did they tell you how they did it?
Well, I know how they did it. They were older. They've done what we're doing, which is always seeking, always wanting to learn about ourselves, look in those places that are dark, that are murky, that are muddy, that are uncomfortable. And they go, I just know. I just know. They were a few years older. I was probably the youngest one there. But they had all been on that journey. So it was almost like I was looking a little bit into my own future, being surrounded by these people, because they had been to this one, they had been to this guru, they've gone to this seminar, they've been all over the place just seeking, and they seem to have gotten to a place where they've released enough of it where, I mean, I don't know, I've never been in the company of people where there's no triggers. You know how like you're around people and then somebody gets weird, or you can tell somebody's uncomfortable, or
why do I have to do the dishes?
Yeah, or like people get weird, or you can be talking to somebody and they're getting uncomfortable that you're talking.
Like you mean people getting triggered by things.
I didn't feel,
right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I didn't feel any triggers, and that's what occurred to me, and it consequently made me feel very buoyant. Now again, maybe I've done enough of my own work where I could, match it. Or maybe I'm just really sensitive and I just sort of go, oh, okay, this is how we're going to be. And this is, I can let go of that too. Because also, if you're a very sensitive person, which I am to the extreme where I'm very sensitive of people around me. So throughout my day.
Would you say you're an empath?
I would totally say I'm an empath. I don't know what the classic definition of empath is, but I would say that I'm very sensitive to other people's feelings, energy, so much so that I want to make it better if I can. But that's my dysfunctional.
Do you think that's
it's my gift?
a virtue,
no, it's
or
completely my gift. But it's also when you do it to find value, which I have done in my life, then I think it becomes your challenge, because that's really not my job in life, is to make everybody okay. But I do have the gift of knowing where somebody can be made to feel better. Like, sometimes in my business, I'll be sent over to the complicated, high maintenance client. This is the bride from hell. Go, Antoinette, go deal with her. And oftentimes I don't find that to be the case at all. Are they complicated? Uh-huh. Are they insecure? Uh-huh. But I don't find that to be a trigger of mine. So therefore, you just sort of hold the space.
And you don't trigger them.
And I don't trigger them. And you just love them for whatever it is that they're bringing to the table, because that usually transmutes it. Anyway, it was just really amazing. So, and I think that's all of a sudden I realized, oh, that's what we're doing. That's what we're all doing, is trying to deal with our wounds. Children from childhood, from past lives, if you believe that, from just being human, being born.
Cumin? It's pretty good. That's good for it.
Being human?
No, cumin is very good for
it's an antioxidant, isn't it?
Anti-inflammatory.
Anti-inflammatory cumin.
Yeah, it's very good.
Where's Trish when you need her?
And curcumin as well.
So anyway, that's what I think, honey. And I think that's really what you do in hypnotherapy, to bring things to the surface. I mean, I don't really know. What do you do?
I don't know what I do.
Who are you?
It's funny, you're saying about your gift. It seems like everyone's gift and talent seems to also be their defense. And so when it no longer is a defense, it becomes a gift to the world.
And an enriched gift,
yeah. Because if you're somebody who, like yourself, you make people feel good about themselves. You make people feel that everything's okay. You make them feel special. You make them feel that you make them laugh.
Well, I don't set out to do that, but I genuinely.
But you.
I'm just somebody who loves people. Like that.
Right,
Out of all the things that's important in my life, I think people. Like I think people are great. Like if I see people having a conversation and they're looking at each other, and they're really talking, that gives me like great joy. And I think to myself, why are you so like jazzed about these two people who you don't really know talking? But I think it's so like I just love humanity. I love humanity.
Right. Well, that's my point. I was saying that
if you let me finish.
You also love cutting me off.
And I love
and that's
talking.
your gift. No, you were saying. I was saying that you were. It was a defense because by growing up the way you grew up, you found that when people were pissed off or angry
or heavy,
by making them laugh, you would be safe.
Right.
And they would be more calm and more comfortable,
right.
and they would let go of their shit when
right.
you would make them laugh.
Right.
Or if you became silly, or
right.
well, that would be making them laugh. Or if you made them feel special, and so that becomes a defense that when you feel that someone's uncomfortable, it's more about something for you. So it's not a gift, it's a defense, and it's more something you're getting from it. And as you clear your stuff, where you're okay with people being upset or being, pissed off, and
or
you're still
heavy.
comfortable, then it's a gift, because then just your personality sees them for who they are, and it softens
and it
them.
holds the space in a different kind of way, in a more resonant way.
Right.
When I was a kid, I actually, as soon as it got heavy in the room, like as soon as I could feel something brewing between like my family members, it was almost like I was like I put on my cape. I would literally kind of rush in to avert the conflict, and I became really, really adept at doing that. Exhausting.
Well,
it was exhausting.
A little bit like that, right?
Yes.
When things get heavy in the house,
yes.
He goes, "Uh-oh, you guys have your Brooklyn voices on." And it just stops us in our tracks and realize, yeah, we're getting
totally.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of Michael, because even when we start to get mad at Nikki or whatever, you could just tell he gets quiet. He is gauging how far it's going to go, whether he needs to step in. It's very sweet, but it's also,
traumatic.
It's abuse. It's what it is.
Speaking of, a word from our sponsor. We're gonna have a word from our sponsor.
Our sponsor in Long Island.
Okay, here we go. I love that.
What is it that we love about that so much? I just love New York people. I just do.
No, that's not
That's the Long Island guy.
No, we just played. You're laughing at.
Oh, I thought we were laughing at the Long Island.
We played the sponsor, the condoms. That's our sponsor. This is our opening logo. We're going to play our opening logo now.
I'm hearing, looking out my window right now, hearing some strange fucking sounds out there. I have no idea what the hell they are. It's rattling the earth around here. We're in Long Island.
Here comes our
January
music.
18th.
Our logo music. Here it is.
And it's fucking loud. You hear that?
Now
you hear that shit?
These sounds are coming from the
What
sky.
is that shit? What? I have no idea. Like, it's coming straight out of the sky.
Love him. It sounds like
what is
aliens.
Let's think about that for a second. What does it sound like?
An alien ship.
To me, it sounds like something hitting the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's causing that sound to be made, like a magnetic thing. And I know nothing about what I'm talking about, but that's what it sounds like.
It sounds like some
it
kind of
electromagnetic.
electromagnetic.
It sounds like the Aurora Borealis if
you
it had a sound.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's what I think it is. But it does sound like, doesn't it sound like a spaceship?
We're going to say that that's what it is.
Doesn't it sound like a spaceship?
It does. It sounds
is like coming from the sky, right?
I'm starting to really believe that all of the imagery we've seen of aliens, extraterrestrials, close encounters, X-Files, all of that is all completely inspired by real life information. And have you noticed, I know I'm so on this ET thing. Have you noticed all of a sudden all of the TV shows are about that the pyramids were built by ETs, all of the technology that was there? I mean, it's like everything's like history's slowly being rewritten without us realizing it. Do you feel that way?
No.
I don't watch.
Because that's all you watch.
No,
So
well, it is. I don't watch a lot of TV. You're right, but I do. I do notice that. And
No, I
because
know.
don't watch a lot of TV,
H2
that's
is
what I'm,
playing a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
ancient aliens, and talking about how the government has all of this UFO documentation that is classified, and well. Getting to what I wanted to read about, we do have a couple of news stories, and I just was like, oh my God. Because I have this theory, and I know it's not only my theory, that, it just seems to be that we have had some kind of contact, whether it's just a frequency or whatever. I believe the government has information that that they're withholding, and clearly there are so many files that are classified. If they wasn't a reason to be classified, they wouldn't classify them, right? But anyway, I thought this was really interesting. So we have two news stories that our a helper assistant pulled for us this morning. Last night, Bill Clinton was on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and former President Bill Clinton talked about his thoughts on extraterrestrial life last night. And he said, Kimmel got the conversation going by telling Clinton that if Kimmel became president, the first thing he would ask for is a look at all the classified UFO files. So then Clinton reciprocated.
Which had to be set up, because everything
that you ask a president, ex-president, former president.
So there's a reason why they're doing this.
There's clearly. And that.
And it's not a good reason.
And
the government's
we have
behind
to assume that. You have to assume that they're slowly but surely kind of easing it into the mainstream consciousness that
so we can have another enemy, and they can have a fake UFO invasion,
yes.
and then we can
so we
sign
can
away
now
more
turn to
stuff.
the skies and be afraid and have reason to fear and get all together and weaponize and
raise our taxes.
Whatever it is that they feel like
We're raising your taxes up.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, and I think here's what I think, and I was just saying this
25%.
to Tony Sweet, our producer and friend, that if we start to open up the possibility and you start to do your own research, because certainly there's enough stuff available, and you start to have build your own conclusions about potential life elsewhere, that would be a very good thing to do, to formulate your own opinion before it's fed to us, because it is being fed to us and it will continue to be fed to us.
Doesn't your opinion have to be based on information?
Absolutely.
So then what information are you forming your opinion on?
Well, there's a lot of information out there. I mean, there's a whole agency. MUFON is an agency which has been around since '69. Tony had...
No, but you're saying before they feed us information. What information we're getting and we're being fed. So what other information would you form?
In other words, to try to
spin,
if they're going to spin it in their favor. I mean, all of the mainstream media is sort of being controlled. I think we all kind of imagine that that's sort of happening, right? I mean, it doesn't take much to
So if they want us to think they're aliens, because...
They're going to spin it that they're negative, or that we need to fear them, or that they're here for hostile reasons, or potentially disagreeable or unagreeable reasons. So what I'm saying is that I think a good defense against that is to develop your own understanding and your own potential relationship, if you will, with that subject matter, is really all I'm saying. Okay. I'm not saying anything I'm just saying before it gets fed to us, why don't we investigate it further?
Are you an alien?
And have conversations about it on the air without knowing what we're talking about. But anyway, do you want to hear the rest of this?
Yeah.
Kimmel got the conversation going by telling Clinton that, Clinton reciprocated by letting Kimmel know that not too long after he was reelected to a second term, his aides did some research on Area 51 in Nevada to make sure that there was no alien down there. he goes on to say, former President Clinton, but if we were visited someday, I wouldn't be surprised.
And he said it on the heels of...
He said it last night.
On the heels of that, which is we sent aides down to check it out. And if we were visited, I wouldn't be... So he's basically saying that there was something in Area 51.
Mm-hmm. That's what the implication is. And I think what's also interesting is that the conversation is even happening. Because like we said, before you go on a show, you say what you want to speak about. And of course, if it's a former president, a former government elected official, that has to be cleared. So they clearly were okay to talk about it and plan to talk about it. So that's all.
Do you think they're doing it because they're going to use it as information or raise our taxes?
I think they're doing it for their own benefit.
Or to control? Or do you think that they're doing it because somebody realizes, it's time for us, we can't really hide this anymore. Let's start leaking it out and make it a no big deal.
Right, because if we all find out all at once, it's going to point to the massive cover-up that's been going on since the early 50s. I mean, then the government actually has to cop to the fact that they've known about it.
So you think that's what it is? You think,
I think it's slowly being
because
leaked.
They can't disclose. You don't think there's some motive behind it that they can kind of control us and with this information?
I think that there is a motive behind it. I think that they.
So which one is it?
I don't know. I think that it's a lot. I think it's a lot of things. I think that they know they can't control it anymore. So let's go ahead and leak it.
And then
so that
control
them
while we're at it. Raise our taxes.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding with the taxes.
I mean, I don't know about the taxes, but it's definitely control us for sure, and not give us the full story. I don't think that there's just one race here, or I don't really know, but it stands to reason that it's a big, vast universe. I don't think they're little green men and that's all there is. And I also happen to think that there's a lot of different things going on. I mean, we have, what's the percentage of our brain that we actually use? And as we...
Tony, I have something to tell you. I have something to tell you.
You love me? You think I'm really hot?
Where we're from, there is no love. There's only consciousness.
No, I was just thinking about some of the photographs that I've seen recently, but
what photographs?
The photographs that we've seen of orbs. I met somebody who showed photographs.
We're going to have Men in Black guys.
Should we go to commercial break? I don't know.
It's Will Smith and Tommy
Lee
Jones kicking down that door in a minute if you keep that up.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have seen pictures of orbs.
Yes, I was at a Tupperware party.
And there's no way those are just spots on the camera.
I don't know. It doesn't seem to me. They seem to actually.
You had a Tupperware party?
No, I say it was a Tupperware party. In Malibu, it's like a very high-end jewelry party, and where you mix your own fragrances. It's the comparable to the Tupperware party in Brooklyn. But anyway, I met somebody, and she felt compelled to show me these pictures, and they were not just one thing. It was like,
I saw them,
well, you didn't see them. No, this was somebody else. I never told you about
that one, yeah.
I'll tell you about it
off
the air.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I'm open, and I think that's the point. Stay open, people. It's really important. Just have the discussion.
I'd rather be arrogant and cynical.
I know, well, because that's what we're comfortable with doing.
It's much more fun to go. Yeah.
Can we?
Really?
Yes.
Where's the evidence?
I know it is, but it's boring to a certain degree because
I am boring. So
no, not you. I'm just saying.
No, you said it.
Do you think Tony's listening? Because I really wanted to ask him.
Tony doesn't listen to anything we say.
Tony
He's
Sweet, who is one of the owners and producers of Universal Broadcasting Network, which is the network we are on, which I was like driving up over the Golden Gate Bridge when he was talking to this person on the air, Jan Harzan, which is the executive director, who is the executive director of Mutual UFO Network, which is MUFON, which was established in 1969. And he had him on the show. And I haven't had a chance to listen to the broadcast, but I wondered if Tony can come in and tell us what he said. Can you ask? Can you type in and get Tony's attention?
I think he's listening to me. I'm going to type him in.
What are you typing? Get your ass in here?
I'm typing.
No, I hear him talking outside, so. Oh.
There you are.
Tony's been summoned. Okay.
Oh, you're not going to be on
You're
camera.
not
We
gonna
don't
be on
have a
camera.
third here, huh?
That's okay. Wrong. Hi, Tony.
Oh, they're not going to be on camera. Well, that's kind of weird. If they're going to have a video of you here. Yeah.
There we go.
Hi, Tony.
Hello. See, I'm an alien, so you can't show me on
you can't
camera.
show you. That's
Yeah.
right. That's probably
There's
true.
proof. Then there's
Oh,
proof.
I never thought about that.
Right.
So tell us, you had Jan Harzan, the executive director of MUFON, on the show Friday.
It's not really a technical problem. We had to hide Tony's
Yes.
face.
After last week's show, I have to go in hiding.
And we couldn't afford the digital blackout thing. We couldn't afford that, so we just don't have him on. And this is not his voice. It's
No,
he
this-
really sounds like Mickey Mouse.
We've altered his voice for the purposes of the show.
Or Daffy Duck. I had the executive director of MUFON, Mutual
gotta talk like this.
UFO Network.
You gotta talk like this, Tony.
Like, oh, baby.
Is it back in the day? Like,
What was it? What was that?
No, the
What
voice
was
is
it?
when they saw the first song.
1937, 38, War of the Worlds?
Yeah, War of the Worlds.
Remember that?
Yes.
Can I tell you a funny story
Okay,
about
wait,
that?
can we-
No. I have to tell you a story about this.
Okay.
We got
Better be good.
Yeah, exactly.
my brother Alan, who's a prick, right?
He's a prick.
He had the album where I was about 6 years old,
Uh-oh.
and my other brother was 9, and my older brother Alan, who was 11, he had an album of War of the Worlds, right? And he played it as if it was happening.
That's so mean.
Oh, he was. We were terrified.
Oh my God.
And when he had to turn the record over, he goes, "Could you guys go downstairs and get me a glass of water?"
Oh, God.
and Anthony goes, "I'll go get it." And he's like, "Joe, could you help him?" I'm like, "Why am I helping him with water?" I said, "It's very, very, very important that both of you get the water because by getting more water into our systems," and he just made up some bullshit. And we both went downstairs, came back up. The record was changed until it was, "Oh my God, the people are." The people are the people are the people are
Get stuck.
That's what we realized.
They're like, wait a minute
we
here.
were terrified. And I could imagine
That'd be
what
like
people
my
went
brother.
through back then.
My
Oh,
brother
it's
would
horrible.
do the same
Especially
thing.
back then.
My brother's a prick, by the way, too. No, I'm just kidding.
We all have prick
Oh,
brothers.
you're not a prick. I love you. He's the best brother.
Ali Ba.
Aliba?
Yeah.
Is that
We call him
Jihad?
Ali Ba.
Oh, how funny.
But his name is Alan.
How did you get that?
Yeah.
But yeah, Jan was on my show, and he was amazing. And I know a lot of people, like you, even asked me, "What did he like reveal anything?" I said, I've been like researching and watching documentaries and movies and just reading stuff for years. So nothing that he said really shocked me.
So you've been into this for years and years.
Oh yeah. Because when I was a kid, and my brother was on my show, because he's even more into this than I am.
That
Even
interesting?
verified, that we saw a UFO when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was it?
Granola, Kansas is where I'm from, and
Uh-huh.
so I was probably 8, maybe.
Really?
And my brother, he's 7 years older than I was, and so he came into the house and said, "Mom, Dad, come out. There's something in
Really?
the sky."
Wow.
And so my dad's like, "Yeah, whatever." And he just stayed. He's like, "I ain't gonna go out. It's
I
whatever."
already got probed.
Right. It's country. And so my mom, my sister, my brother, and me, I don't think my other sister was there, but went out, and there was just this object that was just one
Hovering.
spot. Yeah, over the
Really?
hill. We lived like in a valley, so it was over the hill. And so
What are they doing in Kansas? What is that about?
Well, cattle. Maybe they want some cattle. A lot of cattle rustling out there. But they
And what was it? What was it?
we don't know. I
Was
mean,
it
we-
a disc shape?
It was
or-
a disc. It was more of a glow. It was just
Was
a
it nighttime?
bright. Yeah, it was nighttime. It was a bright glow. I couldn't really see if
Like
it was
a ball?
disc.
More of a ball?
More, yeah, just like a ball, just a
What color
glowing
was it?
ball, like blue and yellow, pink and red. No, I was kidding.
Oh.
No, I don't remember the color. But I remember we got in the car and started driving towards the hill to see what it was. And then also there was a kind of a single engine plane, flying, and it went by, and then you could see the little plane turn around. And as we got closer, the plane got closer, and all of a sudden that little ball just went whoosh, straight up in the air
And
up
disappeared.
and disappeared into the atmosphere. And so that's when it really sparked all of our interest of
and
knowing
you've been interested in that
ever since. My brother, he has seen quite a few more. He said I wasn't there because he used to go out in the Colorado and Utah and live in the mountains and tents and stuff. So he used to
How
see
much
all
older
kinds
is he?
of- 7
7 years?
Yeah,
In Colorado.
yeah. And Colorado is
I-
one of the
it
hot spots.
Yeah,
Yes.
it makes me wonder if it's government ships because
Well,
that's where a
and
lot of their stuff is.
UFO does not always mean it's an unidentified
Right.
flying
Flying
object,
object.
so it doesn't mean it's always extraterrestrial. It could be just unidentified military planes that we just
Right.
don't know about. Now, we asked Jan about that. They said, what do you think of all the sightings of what's the percentage of ones do you think that are actual
Real.
And he said probably around 35% of those are real. And he goes, because there's no explanation whatsoever, because they have they have the technology to zoom in to the lighting, the types
They
of
can
this
tell
and the,
now
yeah
if
yeah
it's-
and the speed.
The
The
speed,
speed really
yeah.
does it when something moves that fast. There's no
And
way.
makes a sharp right hand.
right
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
but we actually
We
our
have the-
government has that now that they have not talked
They-
about
Well, where did we
That's
get
what
it
he
from?
says.
from
Them.
the aliens.
Yeah.
And this is I
Did
heard
he
you
say
talk
that?
yeah, and this is what I heard you talk about earlier, because I even said, why in 2014, why would the government not say anything? Because I can understand back in the 30s, 40s,
Absolutely.
50s, because people probably would freak out like they did. But now we've how many movies and TV
Exactly.
shows
Our horizons have been
right.
broadened.
And so he said it's technology. He goes, because of the technology, if it gets in the wrong hands, he said,
Then
it
we
can
don't
be
have it.
disastrous to the
Right.
world, because their technology could destroy us very easy. And so the aliens are working with
Mm-hmm.
our governments. So
Now remember that thing that happened in Iran where they took down a drone? I saw one of those H2 shows that said that they suspected they got the technology of some kind of tractor beam that was able, because they took down a drone and it was in. They
Who took
landed
down
it,
the drone?
The Iranians.
really,
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it's possible. I know even Hitler, they were working on an anti-gravity machine, and so they think that the Nazis were they somehow got technology.
Yeah, I
that-
saw a
yeah.
documentary on that.
It's
too.
pretty fascinating. It's
And
pretty
if you look at
fascinating.
the big jump in from the 1950s to the
It's
60s,
huge.
technology-wise, it's a huge jump. It's a quantum jump.
Yeah, and we talked also about the moon, how we've only really been there a couple times and then never went back, and they talked about, because the other side of the moon, there are things that they don't want us to see,
Right. So
Wow,
you never see
really?
photographs of the
Yeah.
other side of the moon.
and they think that the Chinese who are going there now will reveal things, because they're
Really?
not as hidden
Covert, yeah.
as we were. So
Wow.
yeah,
When
it's
are
pretty.
when are they slated to get there?
I think either this year or next year. So they're working on that now.
I mean, they're saying there are whole colonies up on the other side
Yeah,
of the
they
moon.
say
There's like a
that's what they
whole
keep saying.
infrastructure.
Wow.
So it's. I mean, there's I always say there's things I believe and there's things I don't believe, but I believe there's different types of aliens. I believe there's my Eddie, who was on your show. We both agree that there's many different species of aliens and some are here to not necessarily harm us, but to experiment
Right.
on us. And then there's
For their
some-
own
Yeah,
reasons.
for their own reasons,
Right.
to either save their race or just whatever. But then there's others here that actually really care
And who have
about-
evolved to the point where
Yeah.
they're non-physical and
Right.
they're very close to
The
going back to
non-physical ones.
creator,
Right.
and so they're here to assist in the process.
Do the non-physical ones? I'm sorry. Do the non-physical aliens? Do they need ships, or they just kind of like more like ghosts?
No, they still have ships.
have ships.
Yeah, they still have ships. It's just mostly they, that mental capacity where to not use words other than just use their minds. I even asked about the religious part of it. I said, what? Because I hear this all the time. Well, it's going to change. It's going to destroy our economies if they come. If it, it'll make people think differently of the religion. I said, honestly, though, if it's Christianity, let's say that Christians happen to question it, and I said, well, then you're limiting what God's power is,
Right.
because if God created all the universe, then you're sitting there telling me that God can only create one planet with life on it, but yet there's how many universes and galaxies out there that they're
it wasn't
proving-
created by God.
yeah, so they're proving that could sustain life, and so it's like, you can't limit. So
It adds to it.
Yeah,
It
it adds
doesn't
to it. It
to God's
should add
creation.
more
Yeah.
to the religious portion of it.
And the limitlessness of
Of
it,
course. So yeah, it's amazing. It was a great interview, and you guys should try to get him on your show sometime. Yeah,
Would
he's
love it.
Would love to.
he's
Would love it.
He heard our show. He won't be on.
You never know.
We called
Like,
him. He
I'm
said,
scared.
"Are you crazy?"
Well, one question.
Those two will talk me into a frenzy.
Right. Well, one question when I approached him, because they have a show. It's called the Hangar One.
Yeah.
The UFO files.
I
on
heard someone
H2.
saying that
It's-
there's no
That's
such
there.
thing as a
Oh.
hangar there.
Yeah, there is
I
a
heard someone
hangar,
on,
and I
on
asked
coast
them.
to coast saying there is no such thing as a hangar there. It's all bullshit.
No,
Well-
he said that is not true. There is a hangar, and I can't remember. It's in Ohio.
The hangar belongs to.
to MUFON.
Oh.
And he even says, I'll give you a trivia fact, that the hangar used to be owned by Howard Hughes, that when he used to go, I guess he had a girlfriend there or somebody that he'd visit, and so that's where he parked his plane. But they own that. They've owned it for many, many years. And he said that's where all the files are. So he goes, yeah, it's there. And I asked him, I said, hey, can I, not the hangar, but I said, I'd love to come down and see your facility. And he said, yeah, come down anytime.
Oh,
and so I was
wow.
like, wow, this would be
Let's
awesome.
do it. We should maybe
I-
do a show
That would be
on the
kinda
road.
Fun. That wouldn't it be fun?
Get a crew and go down there. Let's do that.
I'll ask him to see if that's
Yes,
possible.
just like a 3 or 4 person crew, nothing big.
Yeah, I would love that. But Hangar One, they just got picked up for a second season, so good for them.
It's going.
What's
it's
to
going
stop
well.
the government, I think, from going in there and nothing?
Nothing. I think
at
if
this
they
point-
thought it was something incriminating or something like that,
Or
then
something that they needed.
they
that
needed.
didn't have.
Yeah, I think they would
probably would.
say something, because that was one of my questions. Was like, I've been watching Hangar One and all these other documentaries and shows
Mm-hmm.
about people being threatened, people being killed, your family and this and that. And I said, why aren't they threatening you? Because you're like the main one out there. And he said, well, when I first started, he goes, that was my first question. He goes, have we ever been threatened? They said no. He goes, well, apparently we're not doing our job then
Right.
of trying to get out to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And but he just said, he thinks it's because now it's becoming more common to talk about, and it's not so taboo. I mean, it still freaks people out.
It totally does. I mean,
Which I don't understand why,
yeah,
but-
people question your credibility, you
Yeah.
know, and I think to myself,
They think you're crazy, and I'm
but
like,
but
yeah,
isn't it
no.
crazy to think that there isn't a vast universe out there, and why would it just? There's no logic to
Well,
that.
I know people probably get mad if I say this, but it's like saying if somebody's questioning God, it's like, well, they're like, that's no comparison. No, it is.
Right.
It is a great comparison, because again, if He's created something, why is it so crazy to think that somebody else is out there that just has a family or whatever else? We don't know their situation.
What's the most compelling story that you've read or that he's told you about? Was it the one with the Japanese airline where the FAA official went on record and said that this happened? I mean,
There's
I
tons-
got
tons of-
better than that. There's
which one?
They've got President Reagan. He had 2 encounters. In fact, they shut him up when he was running for governor of California. They actually shut him up.
He kind of blurted
And
it out.
how do you
in
know
speech.
that? How do they know?
Oh, that was on record, and also the pilot that was flying the plane also confirmed it. President Carter, former CIA director, he came out and talked about it before his death. Former Prime Minister of Canada, he came out and said they're here. Blah blah blah. I mean, the list goes on and on of leaders.
All you have to do is but look. It's there.
Yeah, and like I said, I interviewed.
Butt look?
A butt
All
look.
you have to do is. all you have
I'm
to
always
do is
looking at your
look,
butt,
I
honey. I
know.
don't see any aliens coming out of it.
If he does,
Continue to look.
Yeah, no, right? Yeah.
I've seen aliens going in.
Oh,
but I'm bummed.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap. That's how it all started. But yeah, so, I mean, if you guys check it out on, I think it's on H2 online, you can check out all the former
Yeah, I've
episodes.
seen some of them.
I'm
Yeah,
going.
they're great.
That's all she watches now. That and Shark Tank.
My
That's-
kids come down in the morning for breakfast, and what is Mommy watching this morning? But you know what? I let it. If they hear it, they just keeps their mind open. I say, Mommy doesn't know, but Mom's open. You got to listen. You gotta
Amen,
listen.
sister.
You got to keep your mind open.
So, anyway.
Thank you.
That's my story.
Well, wait.
Oh,
what's-
you
Wait,
want-
wait,
Okay, so I was going to ask you. Okay, so that's the most compelling, and you would agree that's the most compelling.
I don't.
Story,
I don't
UFO
agree. I think
story?
the Billy Meyer story is the most compelling
I
story.
don't know Billy Myers.
Billy Meyer, back in the early 70s,
Mm-hmm.
was visited multiple times. He was from right outside of Zurich, very simple farmer. And he was visited repeatedly from the Pleiadians, from the Pleiades star system.
I think so,
So
yeah.
it's the Sirians, Andromeda, and documented photographs. I mean, he's the biggest case, and he's the case that the government went after and tried to make it seem like he was crazy. But that's called the Billy Meyer case.
I'll have to look that
Very,
one up 'cause I
very,
don't know that
very
one.
well
But is there as
researched.
much evidence as
Apparently
like
it's
the
the
FAA
case that has the most
with the
evidence.
radar, with the Japanese
Well, you know,
747?
I don't think there's radar, but I think there are photographs.
Uh-huh.
He's got photographs of the person who stepped out of the ship, which was a female. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
With the
And I
big
believe
butt.
everything on YouTube.
A female with a big butt.
Tell that
She's
story,
very
Tony.
pretty.
Tell that story.
Oh, what about
Do you have to
butt?
go, Tone?
Oh, no.
Oh.
I'm
Tell the
just,
story.
About
The big
no,
butt.
I was just talking about how you soften with age. You know, as you get older.
And you get more desperate for
no,
compliments.
well, no, because I was primping and fussing before the show because I'm like, I never really thought about how I looked, but now as I advance in age, no, I'm just more like, okay, want to make sure I look good. But when I was younger, it was like anybody who made a comment, especially when you're from Brooklyn, it's like, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. And I remember walking down the streets of Manhattan, and it's like, as a girl, your worst nightmare is to walk down the street with, construction workers. And I remember this one time I was wearing, a power suit, my legs, all the way up, and the heels, and oh my gosh, and here we go. I got to walk, all these guys having lunch, and I got to walk right by them. And I was like, all right, whatever, just keep looking straight. And I walked by. This is what all girls go through, by the way. And so I started walking, and I was like, all right, getting pretty far. And like, it's all good, it's all good. And then all of a sudden, this homeless guy steps in front of me, and he goes, lady, you have legs that soothe a man's soul. And I was just like, fuck you. I walk by, and he's like, you also got a big motherfucking ass. I never did that again.
You're like,
Never did that again.
No. Thank you.
No.
Actually, last time
now
we
I
went
would-
to New York, this is like
Now I
20
would have
years
taken him
ago.
to lunch.
We actually looked for him. She had me looking for him for 20 minutes to say thank you for the
yeah,
compliment.
No, I would have
we were
taken
looking
him out.
for him like 20 minutes every day, right?
Yeah.
We went looking
Yeah.
for him.
That's
No,
hilarious.
So, now I
You
just say
don't have a
thank
big
you.
butt.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tony, for joining us.
Of
When
course.
does your show play?
Wednesdays and Fridays, 4 to 6 p.m.
Here
Wednesdays
on
and
Here
UBN?
on
Fridays.
ubnradio.com.
Channel 1.
Channel 1.
That's right.
Love it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
I'm going
much,
to get
Tony.
off here so you can finish your show.
We're coming up on the hour here. Thank you, Tony. Bye. Oh. Hi, baby. Where are
Hi.
we?
Well, that's about it.
Wow, that is about it. Aren't we coming up? Oh my God, 2 minutes. Wait, I wanted to say. Wait.
Find us.
We have some
And
really cool guests coming up.
Yes, tell us about our guest.
Well, we have Martha Weinstein coming up, and I'm going to tell you all about her on our next show. She's going to be on at the end of the month. She's written a book on longevity. She's in her 90s. Very thrilled to have her. And we've got some really interesting...
Now, how do we know she knows about longevity?
We don't.
Maybe
We
in
don't,
light of what
but
we're
we're gonna
talking about, maybe
listen,
she's
and then
just
we're
an
gonna
alien.
decide.
Now I'm thinking everyone's just an alien trying to make a buck.
You know, you and I
She's
are...
just an alien that's going, oh, this is how I got to be 90 looking so good, and then made a lot of money off of us. Just,
Are you being controversial?
yeah.
I think
That's
you and
what they told me. They said the show needs a little bit more.
This is
more
the
edge.
controversy part of the show.
Yeah,
No,
controversy.
but I think, Joey, let me just say one thing. You and I are a good combination together because, at first glance, one would think, well,
that you're gorgeous.
Oh.
On a second glance,
You also got a big motherfucking ass. Oh, God, we laugh a little. We laugh so we don't cry is what goes on. No, but anyway, I just think...
so our guests. We're
Oh,
talking
no,
about
I
our
was
guests.
just talking about that
Shiny
at
object,
first...
shiny object. Focus. On a guest.
No, at first glance, you and I... at first glance that I'm very open. One would say that I'm the open one. But
Well,
yeah,
that's
I
why
think
the
you-
aliens probed you.
I think that's why you think that I'm very open and suggestible. But I'm really not. I'm actually very discerning. But there are certain things that I do feel very strongly. And I use my mind to a certain degree. But because I'm a female, I use mostly my feeling body and my senses and my...
There's nothing wrong with having a thin critical filter. It's
But you
just-
have a very thick critical filter.
No, mine is.
I think you do.
thinned. Are you kidding me?
Baby, I think
I
it's-
listen to everything. Everybody.
I know you do.
I mean, I read
know
on
you do.
everything, and I'm open to. I'm just being silly when I do this about the alien. I believe that they can exist, but just the simple fact that someone's saying they are, that's nice too.
Absolutely not. I wouldn't
Yeah,
just take
I'm
one person's
open to it.
opinion.
Yeah. No, I'm open to everything.
I'm glad we got that figured out.
I've been probed too. All right.
Thank you for
You can find us
listening in.
at. Where do they find us? I don't even
They
know.
find
our
us
our
at
website.
www.ubnradio.com, Channel 1.
No, Channel 2.
Channel 1.
We're Channel 2.
What was
He's Channel 1.
so we're Channel 1. So
Oh,
Channel
really?
1. And if you tune in at 11 a.m., you can watch us and listen to us live. But then if you want to hear the podcast, you just go to iTunes and put it On the Fringe with Antoinette and Joe. It's very
Or you
simple.
go to
You're making it very complicated.
Or you go to ubnradio.com/on the fringe,
On the
and you'll
Fringe.
see all
and you'll
the
see
archive.
our archives. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
anyway,
and
thank
you
you
can
for
find us
joining
on Facebook at
Facebook at On the Fringe Show.
Show. I don't even know the name of our show.
And we are
We're
on
pathetic.
Twitter at Fringe Talk Radio. Okay.
Okay, thank
Love
you,
you all.
everyone.
Thank
We'll
you
see
so
next
much.
week. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at ubnradio.com.